They're targeting cars in broad daylight, and this time they don't want what's inside your car, but what's underneath. But first tonight, a scammer tries luring real cash with fake awards, and local businesses are becoming victims. So if you're out driving tonight, if you have to be on the road tonight, please drive carefully. Perhaps one of the biggest pieces of evidence we have on this scene right now is that broken window. Experts say the best way to keep fires out of your kitchen is simply by always staying in the kitchen while you're cooking. This used to be her bedroom, but as you can see, it's all burned up in ashes, and what's all left of it is just really a burned up bed sheet and a burned up lamp. We decided to go behind the scenes here at the American Players Theater to find out what actors are doing to beat the heat. The area where the suspect lives, as you can see, has been closed off by police as the bomb squad continues to sweep his house after reports of possible explosives. And it's not nearly the anticipation so many of us had waiting on the numbers to be drawn, but tonight a lot of people want to know who holds the winning ticket for last night's Powerball. It's been quite the experience. You know, I've never seen snow before in my life, and this is my first blizzard. So it's a little exciting for me, but I never knew that such blizzard with that magnitude can really have a ripple effect on everything. The Portage Fire Department is asking for help after a fire destroyed a business earlier this month.
What do you compare it to in life? You've never been through anything like this.
Shocked, shaken, and in fear is how many of the Oak Creek Sikh Temple members felt as they anxiously looked across the street, awaiting to find out how many made it out alive after a mass shooting took the lives of 6 Temple members moments before Sunday morning's mass.
Doesn't register.
Harpreet Singh, who's part of the congregation, is like many others who stood by, comforting members of his temple and wondering why after he learned that 2 priests were among the casualties.
They didn't have an ounce of hatred in them, nor do any of the Sikhs here.
Singh says out of the 1,000 Sikhs in Milwaukee, 300 of them attend the Oak Creek Temple. Members here tell me the temple has been open for the past 5 years. It was meant to meet the spiritual needs of the relatively small Sikh community in Oak Creek.
We are like a big family here.
Navreet Rahman, another member of the temple, rushed to the scene after learning of the tragedy.
If church is not the safest place to come and worship, where else are you safe? So we have to put metal detectors over there.
This young woman is breathing a big sigh of relief after her mom and grandparents came out of the temple unharmed. They had been just a few feet away from the shooter this morning.
She was not shot at. She was in the kitchen cooking, and she heard the gunshots with other ladies. And it was like 15 of them locked themselves inside the tiny pantry.
Jaspreet reunited with her family shortly after they got out, an opportunity not everyone was fortunate enough to have.
We are feeling very sad. We are very, very stunned. I can't say anything about that. The people were killed. They were our good friends.
In Oak Creek, Sally Mamdooh, NBC 15.
Обретали свою семью в нашей стране, на нашей родине, в России.
On January 1st, Russia shut its doors for good on American adoptions, a decision that rocked both nations who for years worked hand in hand, finding American homes for Russian orphans.
But this is the first time I've ever seen a program closed for what appears to be political reasons.
Political reasons. Kim Westphal, who's been an international adoption manager with Lutheran Social Services for the past decade, says are now affecting 500 families nationwide, 9 of them in Wisconsin.
It was shocking. It was devastating. We didn't really know. It just happened all so fast.
The tensions heated up in December when President Obama signed the Magnitsky Act, banning Russian officials involved in violating Sergei Magnitsky's human rights from entering the U.S. Sergei Magnitsky was a Russian auditor who alleged certain Russian officials were obtaining fraudulent tax refunds. The ban on U.S. adoptions of Russian children is seen as payback.
That, of course, was great concern to us because we have a number of staff that are in Russia. We have a number of families that are in the adoption process.
What did you say please was?
Спасибо.
It's a process that Melissa and Doug Novinsky went through 10 years ago when they adopted their son Oleg from Russia.
This was our first picture when we met Oleg.
And before that, as part of every Russian adoption process, the Novinskys had to wait at least 2 years before they got a referral.
That's a lot of paperwork.
It's a lot of paperwork.
A thick binder documenting their journey that involved 2 trips to Russia before bringing Oleg home.
And then this is still all our first trip, just visiting and playing.
So people get attached here. This is like
Absolutely.
you're bonding.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the Novinskys say the attachment comes long before the first meeting.
When you see the picture, right away in your heart, you start to accept him as your child.
Which is why it's too emotional for them to know that some families are now forced to forget the faces engraved in their hearts.
It's heartbreaking. I just feel bad. It's like coming close to losing a child.
Russian story tells.
And while some families are forced to move on, others are waiting in limbo as the Russian government decides whether to allow those who have gone through the entire process and just need the court's approval to finish their adoptions.
And it broke the hearts of our staff that live every day with those families.
But it's not just the families and the staff that are suffering the consequences.
I believe there's about over 400,000 orphans in Russia, and there are only 18,000 Russian couples who are pursuing the adoption of those children.
A huge problem that Westphal says will now turn for the worse, and a sad ending to now empty hearts, hopes, and homes.
It's sad for the kids. I mean, they're the ones who need a home, and you're as family, you want your child, but it's hard for them.